but Jaafar, you can see how much he cares. That's what makes him so special.
I love challenges, and I wanted to prove to myself, my family, and the filmmakers that I can do this.
When Michael movie trailer dropped in November 2025, people genuinely stopped scrolling. Not because it was a good trailer, because for a split second, and I mean a real split second, people thought they were watching actual Michael Jackson footage. That's not me hyping it up, that's 116 million people hitting play in 24 hours. More than any musical biopic trailer in history. More than Taylor Swift. More than Bohemian Rhapsody. More than all of them. And the guy doing that, he's not a Hollywood veteran. He's not even a trained actor. He's Michael Jackson's nephew. And what he pulled off is genuinely one of the wildest transformations we've seen in entertainment in a long time. But here's the thing most people don't know. Jaafar Jackson didn't just stumble into this role. There's a whole story behind how this happened, and it's way more interesting than the movie itself. Jaafar Jeremiah Jackson was born on July 25, 1996 in Los Angeles. His dad is Jermaine Jackson. Yes, that Jermaine, the Jackson 5 member, the older brother who literally grew up performing alongside the most famous entertainer in history. So from the moment Jaafar was born, the pressure was already there.
I knew how challenging this would be.
The name alone carries a weight most people can't even imagine. Growing up a Jackson means every birthday, every school performance, every time you hum a melody. Someone's comparing you to Michael. That kind of upbringing shapes you in ways you can't fully explain, and it clearly shaped Jaafar in a big way. He started singing and dancing at 12 and even had dreams of becoming a professional golfer at one point, which honestly tells you a lot about him. This wasn't a guy desperately trying to ride his uncle's coattails. He had his own thing going, his own interests. In 2019, he released his debut single, Got Me Singing. Not a massive hit, not a global moment. I will not stop till I hear you say. Just a young guy finding his voice, and then everything changed. Producer Graham King had been conducting a worldwide search for someone to play Michael Jackson for this film. And the role was one of the hardest casting challenges in recent Hollywood memory.
I met with Rich and Tone, who are Michael's choreographers, and we were wondering, can Jaafar really do this?
Think about it. You need someone who can sing like Michael, dance like Michael, look like Michael, and somehow carry the emotional weight of a man whose story includes being the greatest entertainer on the planet and one of the most controversial figures in pop culture history. You can't fake that. You can't just hire a good-looking actor and put them in a sequined jacket. King said he met Jaafar over 2 years ago and was immediately blown away by how organically he personified Michael's spirit and personality. And even after that first meeting, the search continued. They looked everywhere. They tested people, but every time they kept coming back to the same conclusion.
Going through this process of who can play Michael, how do you even start with that? And then, of course, I meet Jaafar Jackson.
Even after conducting a worldwide search, it was clear that he is the only person to take on this role, King said. And honestly, when you see the footage, you understand exactly what he means. The first image that went public in February 2024 genuinely broke people's brains. It showed Jaafar recreating his uncle's iconic man-in-the-mirror performance from the 1992 Dangerous World Tour, shot by Kevin Mazur, the same photographer who captured the actual Michael Jackson tours in the 80s and 90s. Mazur said when he walked onto the set, he felt like he'd gone back in time, walking into the stadium to shoot the original tour. That's not a PR quote, that's a man who was there with the real Michael Jackson saying this kid made him feel like he'd time traveled.
I never dreamed to be an actor or even thought of playing him, but I knew it was a calling.
The hair, the makeup, the costume, all of it is meticulous, but what's more important is how he carries himself in that image. The posture, the hand placement, the way his weight sits. That's not just a good costume. That's someone who studied every frame, every photograph, every concert recording, and rebuilt Michael's physical presence from the inside out. Director Antoine Fuqua kept talking about something specific when describing Jaafar's performance, and it wasn't about the dancing or the singing. He said it goes beyond the physical resemblance, that it's Michael's spirit that comes through in a magical way. And his co-star Coleman Domingo, who plays Joe Jackson and has been acting for decades.
I can tell you that Jaafar Jackson is the truth. He's wonderful and he honors his late uncle in a tremendous way.
Backed that up completely. Domingo said Jaafar didn't just move like Michael moved. He tapped into why Michael moved that way, what every gesture meant to Michael. That's a completely different level of preparation. Most actors learn the surface stuff, the moonwalk, the hat tilt, Jaafar went deeper. He understood the intention behind Michael's physicality, why Michael held his hands a certain way, why he paused before certain notes, the emotional architecture underneath every performance. Domingo added that Jaafar is something special, and coming from someone of that caliber, that statement carries real weight. Now here's where things get complicated because this movie has not had a smooth road, not even close. Dan Reed, the filmmaker behind the 2019 documentary Leaving Neverland, which features two men who alleged Michael Jackson abused them as children, called an early script draft a complete whitewash. He said it contained what he described as outright lies and was an attempt to dismiss the allegations entirely. That's a serious accusation, and it didn't go away quietly.
He helped me tremendously. He helped me with my career. He helped me with my creativity, with all of those sorts of things. And he also abused me.
Then in January 2025, it was reported the third act needed reshoot because the film could not legally depict Jordan Chandler, the accuser in the 1993 case. That's not a minor fix. That's restructuring a major portion of the story. Michael's daughter, Paris Jackson, also publicly clarified that she had chosen to distance herself from the project after a co-star incorrectly said she supported it. Her silence says a lot, and yet, the estate is fully behind it.
Like, the narrative is being controlled, and there's a lot of inaccuracy, and there's a lot of just full-blown lies. And at the end of the day, like, that doesn't really fly with me. I don't really like dishonesty. I spoke up. I wasn't heard. I f***ed off. That's it.
Grandmother Katherine Jackson said Jaafar embodies her son and expressed how wonderful it was to see the Jackson legacy continue. The film exists in this strange tension between those who want to celebrate Michael and those who believe the full truth still hasn't been told. That tension isn't going away, and honestly, it might be the most interesting thing about the movie. When that trailer dropped on November 6th, 2025, the internet collectively lost its mind. It was viewed 30 million times in its first 6 hours and 116.2 million times in 24 hours. More than any other Lionsgate Films trailer and more than any trailer for a musical biopic or concert film in history.
Can you lower the lights for me, please?
Okay, but remember, in here, keep those feet still, my man.
Surpassing Taylor Swift, the Eras Tour at 96.1 million views. Michael's son, Prince Jackson, celebrated his cousin's performance on Instagram, writing, "So proud of everyone involved in this, but none more than my cousin Jaafar." When Michael Jackson's actual son says that about you, a guy who grew up watching his father perform, that's about as high a seal of approval as you can get. But here's what I keep coming back to, and I think it's worth sitting with. Jaafar is not Michael. He never tried to be Michael in his personal life. He built his own music career, released his own music, had his own interests outside of the family legacy. He wasn't auditioning to replace his uncle. He was just living his own life, until one phone call changed everything. The weight of this role is almost incomprehensible.
I looked at Graham, and Graham looked at me. I was like, who is this guy?
You're not just playing a character. You're playing someone your grandmother loved, someone your father grew up with, someone whose children are watching every frame of this film and deciding whether you honored their dad or betrayed him. That's not acting. That's something much heavier than acting.
Jaafar's transformation into his Uncle Michael is striking, in his performance, which he has meticulously recreated from his uncle's iconic dance moves, is already generating buzz for the biopic.
And from everything we've seen, the photos, the trailer, the reactions from people who actually knew Michael Jackson, Jaafar seems to be carrying that weight with something close to grace. The film is set for release on April 24th, 2026. And the question everyone's dancing around is this: can a movie, even a great one, capture the full truth of a man as complicated as Michael Jackson? Can it honor his genius while being honest about his shadows? Can Jaafar Jackson, a young man with his uncle's blood and his uncle's moves, make the world feel something real? We're about to find out. But one thing is already clear. Whatever you think about Michael Jackson, the man, what Jaafar Jackson has done to prepare for this role is not something you can fake. Some people are born into a legacy they can't escape. Jaafar didn't run from his. He walked straight into it. Sequins, moonwalk and all. And the world is watching.